Hi friends, this is the reading lesson for second grade. We are going to finish reading A Dinosaur Named Sue. So we are going to start by reviewing our main ideas. Please make sure your booklet is open to page 26. So for August 11th, 1990, we wrote, scientists have found many bones in South Dakota. On page 27, August 12th, 1990, we wrote that Sue Hendrickson discovered the bones of a T-Rex dinosaur buried in the dirt and rock. And then on page 29, you were supposed to write your own main idea about when they started digging. So I wrote August 14th, 1990. Digging up the dinosaur skeleton was hard work. And we know it was hard work because they couldn't use any heavy machinery. They didn't want to break or crush the fossils. They had to be super duper careful and do it all by hand. We are going to read quite a few more journal entries, but some of them are shorter than the ones we've already read. So please make sure you're on page 30 and have your highlighters ready. Here we go.
August 18th, 1990. Our hard work over the past few days finally paid off. Today, we got down to the fossils. Then we had to be even more careful. We used small hand tools to remove the dirt and rock around the bones.
So there's not a ton to highlight necessarily in this one. We know that they finally got down to the fossils and that they had to be even more careful and use small hand tools and to remove the dirt and the rock around the bones. So very similar to what we read in our previous journal entry, but still important information going on here. Let's keep going.
August 21st, 1990. While we worked, Pete told us about other T-Rex fossils that people have found. Some finds were just a few bones. No known T-Rexes have even half their bones, but it looks as though Sue found almost a whole skeleton. This is an important discovery. It will help scientists learn so much about T-Rex. The skeleton will also make an amazing museum display.
Digging out bones is a hard and dirty job.
All right, so in this journal entry, we learn that there has not been a find that has even half of a T-Rex's bones, and we can, they're already starting to say it looks like as if Sue found almost a whole skeleton, which is so great because it will help scientists learn about the T-Rex. Very, very fascinating. Okay, let's go ahead and read August 23rd.
August 23rd, 1990. Pete dug out the skull today. It's almost 5 feet long. He thinks that this T-Rex was a giant. Its bones are bigger than any T-Rex he has seen. These bones are in great shape, too. Most fossil bones are chipped, broken, or crushed. We took pictures as we worked. It's important to record the positions of the bones. That information will help scientists who study these fossils later. We also found fossils of plants and other dinosaurs. These finds will help us learn more about life long ago.
Pete removed rocks and dirt from Sue's skull.
Okay, so here we can kind of start to see, maybe some part of the actual skeleton. Pretty cool. And they're saying that they think that the bones to this T-Rex are the biggest that they've ever seen, and that its skull was almost 5 feet long. That's That's crazy. I'm only 5'3", and that would be his head just almost as long as my entire body. Crazy, right? And they also say that the bones are in great shape too. Now, what that means is that a lot of times when they find fossils, the bones are chipped or broken or crushed. So this is very great. We know they took some pictures, and they also found fossils of other plants and other dinosaurs. Maybe you highlighted that too. And all in all these things are going to help them learn about life long ago. Okay, we're going to take a break from reading in this moment, and we are going to write 3 main ideas that follow and go along with our text. So on page 30, I want you to write August 18th, 1990. So we know that there wasn't much in this journal entry, but basically we know that the scientists had to be super careful when digging and working around the dinosaur bones. So that is basically what we are going to say. If I could just tell you one thing about this little journal entry, I would say that the scientists had to be very careful. Now I'm just going to skip a couple lines once I'm done writing that, and I'm going to write August 21st, 1990. So we're writing both main ideas on this page. If you need to pause the video so you can finish writing our first sentence, go ahead. Now, the biggest thing that we learned in August 21st, 1990's journal entry was that they found almost a whole skeleton, but this has not been done before. So it was a big deal, right? So we could say the discovery is the first time scientists will have a whole T period Rex skeleton to study. And we know that this was a big deal. Then we learned in the next journal entry that all these bones are in really great shape too. So the scientists will be able to learn a lot from these T-Rex bones. So if you need to keep writing this, go ahead. When you are ready, we will go ahead and write our last one on these 2 pages. So we have August 23rd, 1990. And we learned that the scientists will be, or can, learn a lot from the T period Rex bones. Wouldn't this just be fascinating? All right, if you need to pause the video and finish writing those, go ahead. And when you're ready, we'll start reading. Page 32. We have 3 more journal entries to read. These 2 are within the next couple days. And then you might notice that this last one we're going to read is 10 years later. So that'll be kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and finish reading August 29th and September 1st.
August 29th, 1990. As we dug up bones today, we left some rock around them. The rock will protect the bones on their way to the lab. When they get there, we'll remove the rock. Weak bones get special care. They get a thin coat of glue and layers of tinfoil. Then we wrap them in a plaster cast. Sometimes we add pieces of wood for extra strength. September 1st, 1990.
Okay, we're actually going to stop there. Let's check in on your highlights. We know that they purposely left some rock around the bones to protect them as they're on their way to the lab. Then they'll remove the rock, which, if there's the weak bones, will get some special care. They get a thin coat of glue and layers of tin foil, and then they wrap them in a plaster cast. And sometimes they add pieces of wood for extra strength. Wow. Fascinating, right? You can kind of see in this picture that they are putting a plaster cast around it, to protect the bones. You can kind of see the white right there. All right, September 1st, here we come.
We left the dig today. It took 17 days to dig Sue out of the ground. All the bones are finally on their way to the lab. It will take a long time to clean up the skeleton. My summer was longer and more amazing than I expected. I'm sad it is over, but I'll be happy to sleep in a real bed again.
A plaster cast helps protect this bone during the trip to the lab.
All right, so we find out on September 1st they are leaving, and that it took 17 days to dig Sue out of the ground. Remember, they were getting ready to leave when they found her? So they had to say 17 extra days. And they know that it takes a long time to clean up the skeleton. And in this last paragraph on paragraph 16, the author, the journal writer, just talks about that they ended up staying longer and it was more amazing than they expected. And they're sad it's over, but happy to sleep in a real bed again. Think about camping and being out in the wilderness, and you might not have a real bed to sleep in or even an air mattress. And this person's like, whew, I'm tired. I'm happy to be in my own bed again, right? All right, let's go ahead and write these two main ideas before we continue on and read 10 years later. So we are going to write two main ideas on this page right here. So we have August 29th, 1990, colon, and we know that the scientists use different methods to protect the bones as they dig them up. Some get a thin coat of glue and wrapped in tin foil, then some get wrapped in a plaster cast or use wood for extra strength. So we know that scientists use different methods to protect the bones they dig up, because they have to take so much time and being so careful digging them up that you don't want them to just break when they're on their way to the lab, right? That would make it worthless. So we know that it takes quite the process to dig up the dinosaur bones and then study them and learn from them, right? So they had to stay those 17 extra days, and then they have to clean up the bones once they're in the lab, right? So we can say it is a slow, careful process to dig up dinosaur bones and study them. Whew. Would you want to do it? Would you want to be a paleontologist looking for dinosaur bones? I know my husband would, but I don't think it's for me. It is pretty fascinating though, huh? All right, let's go ahead. We're going to fast forward 10 years, and we are going to read about what happened to Sue and where you can go see her. Here we go.
May 17th, 2000. This journal has been in a box for almost 10 years since my summer with the two Sues. I pulled it out tonight to add one last entry. I saw both Sues again today. The T-Rex is now on display in Chicago. Pete, Sue, and I are happy that Sue has a place of honor. Scientists can keep studying the bones, and people from around the world can visit the largest and most complete T-Rex ever found.
Sue is a big attraction in the Field Museum's Hall of Dinosaurs. Sue is 40.5 feet long. Experts think this dino might have weighed 15,000 pounds. The bones alone weigh 3,922 pounds.
Wow. Wow. 15,000 pounds? That is crazy. And 40.5 feet long. So I said earlier, I'm about 5'3", so that would be about 8 of me. Crazy, 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 crazy. Big dinosaur. Okay. So we know that the T-Rex is on display in Chicago, and that scientists can keep studying the bones, and people from around the world can visit the largest and most complete T-Rex ever found. And I think that it's also important to mention and highlight that Sue was 40.5 feet long, weighed about 15,000 pounds, and her skeleton, the bones alone, weigh 3,922. We're not going to include that in our main idea, but I think it's just pretty fascinating that we have to highlight it. Okay, so you're going to write this main idea. I'm going to start it with you, and then you are going to finish it. So May 17th, 2000, colon. And we are going to start by saying, while scientists continue to study it, let's say Sue, what do people get to do? What can people do and where? So while scientists continue to study Sue, people can do what? Okay, you're going to tell me, where is Sue on display for people to see? So you're going to finish this main idea, and when you are done, submit it on Canvas. You can either type it out or you can read it to me. That's all for today's lessons, friends. We'll see you later.